Marjorie, Ivy, and Alexandra. We got the profiles up, as we can see, for which companies they work. So we want to keep the introduction short, so we can focus on the content. So let's start with the foundation of today's conversation, which is loyalty. Not loyalty as a program or point system, but loyalty as a relationship and increasingly an economic engine. So in this first part, we're looking at how loyalty itself is being rewritten. So question for you, Alexander.
Thank you.
How is loyalty evolving from points and perks into a real-time personalization engine?
First of all, happy to be here. And I am the former CEO of ATOMIZE, which was acquired by MEWS. So at MEWS, we strongly believe, which is also you heard the presentation of Marcus Levin this morning. So at MEWS, we strongly believe that there is a shift happening right now, where loyalty will be shifted, so loyalty for points will shift to loyalty for relevance. And what we really mean by that is that relevance is sort of the currency in terms of, because guests want to be recognized. Everyone wants to be recognized, even in here, right? So if you can achieve that, you have come a long way to loyalty in general. And in that sort of process, we believe in sort of connecting systems to achieve that, because as we all know, there is a great fragmentation of systems today, and there is room for improvement, if I put it that way.
And demographics, they play a role as well in that, or?
Certainly so. I mean, if you go into the granularity of data, you can have all the demographics. We even talk about dynamic guest segments now. I mean, since I joined, or since I started in the hotel industry, up until now, still, we're talking about static guest segments. You have your business, you have your leisure, you have your groups, it's crazy, right? I mean, but that's based on how sort of data has been sitting historically. But now when systems are opening up and we are able to actually get hold of data in various systems and combining them and see sort of patterns across different siloed platforms, we actually can see patterns of dynamic guest segments. And they are shifting every day, actually every second. So you have certain tens of thousands of dynamic guest segments. So take it even one step further, is that the whole industry has been, if you look at, since we're doing revenue management, so this is close to my heart, but I mean, just look at how pricing is done and has been done for decades. It's been based on inventory, right? So how many rooms what occupancy do you have, and what occupancy will you have in December and next year and so on. What we believe is that needs to change. It needs to change from an inventory-centric approach to revenue management to a guest-centric approach. Because first then you can start opening up really, really exciting stuff when it comes to loyalty, where you see patterns that you have never seen before.
Correct.
By connecting the dots.
Nice. Very good. So Marjorie, what are the modern guests actually loyal to today?
I think that really depends on your target market as well. It varies a lot across the world, globally you could say, and across different cultures. And really, I think we could see today as well that the beauty of hospitality is that we are a people business. We are people serving people, essentially. So you can see, looking into research as well, some loyalty programs are more popular in the US, for example, with where points is still very much more king.
Love my Chase points.
Whereas in the UK, there's a lot more focus on kind of discounts, more value for money. But interestingly enough, what we see in the Nordics is a lot more focus on recognition and how much a brand actually resonates with a person's personal values. So things like design, sustainability. I thought it was really interesting there when we talked about sustainability, how many people actually choose a hotel for sustainability. Because you're in the Nordics, I think sustainability is nearly a standard here. So I don't think that Nordic guests would choose a hotel because of sustainability values. They would actually just expect it. It would be a general expectation. And honestly, it's about that guest experience as well. And that, again, we've been talking about so much more today. That then ties into what we've just heard about, the emotional brand as well, and the emotions that awaken inside of you as well to strengthen the brand and ultimately spend money there.
Yeah, which is what everyone wants, right? In the end. So Ivy, over to you. How do you measure loyalty beyond repeat stays?
I mean, from data points of view, that repeat stay, you can obviously to see that the guests come to stay with you again or not. Not only in your hotel, over your brand, they will stay over. And if you go to another destination, they will stay at your hotel as well. Besides that, we can measure actually from the total revenue that they spend. If they like you, they're loyal to you, they don't need to think so much. They stay with you, they eat at your restaurant, spend an F&B. They maybe do spa at your hotel, other activity also. Because they like your brand, like your hotel, then they don't need to hassle to think about, oh, go where. Then they just come back to you in the total revenue.
Yeah, and that's a big important point, right? Total revenue, whereas typically would spend time looking at room revenue, but the total revenue is becoming more and more.
Can I chime in there as well?
Yeah, of course.
So I think since I'm a tech entrepreneur, a SaaS business, so the metric that is central in SaaS business is lifetime value, LTV. Which I think sometimes it feels like hotels don't recognize that as a metric. We talk about at the most total revenue, but when we talk about loyalty, it's actually about lifetime value.
Yep.
About how many times will they come back throughout their lifetime to your hotel and your brand. And it goes back to the previous presentation, which was amazing, by the way, I think. But also the fact that and there are three elements or three criteria, right, or a journey you need to go through. The first one is the guest experience, which you need to maximize to your best abilities within your brand, sort of. But then that, in turn, which relates to the previous presentation, creates the willingness to pay, which you need to maximize. And then at the end of that funnel, you have the price. So, which means that the price is of whatever you do, and it ties to the revenue as well, is just a receipt of all those components before. So if you ruin any of those, either the guest experience, you are not willing to do the willingness to pay, and if you fail there, you fail with the price, because you cannot charge that price. So that's kind of those three things that are really tied together, that you need to think about it as that process. And there I see, at least from my experience, that the hotel industry fails many times, because they price to a price point that is not in parity to the willingness to pay. And what do you end up with? Bad reviews, because you don't get the value for the buck, sort of what you expect, right?
Yep.
So, and then the circle goes down spiral.
Yep.
So this is really tied to, but of course, total revenue extremely important. But it's one element in the journey.
Exactly.
In the process.
Yeah. Yeah, so to that point, Alexandra, are hotels overestimating how much guests care about loyalty programs?
I definitely think so, and many brands, I think they are the one and only loyalty program out there, and they think that everyone, when they will receive the email in their inbox, will stop everything else, because they are going to read this amazing email, and that they reach top tier 10. Or you have stayed 25 times, now we will give you an upgrade.
Yep.
So yes, I do think people are overestimating, and you need to come back to the true values again. It's all about personalization.
Yeah, and you see where points versus, let's say, instant redemption, for example.
Yes.
Is that more becoming a standard, or
Definitely
at least-
instant. People don't want to wait. You want to see it right away and feel valued, heard, seen, and build that trust from the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why we're starting to see a lot more kind of boutique hotels like Stockholm, Stadshotell, and a lot of new openings that I work with as well, where you're starting from scratch. You don't have loyal guests.
Yeah.
You're starting your brand, and you want to create loyal guests with ancillary value, of course, as well. So it's kind of getting that balancing act as well.
Nice, very good. So we talked about what today's guest values are. Now let's connect that to the business side. Revenue doesn't just come from rooms anymore, as we just heard. Total revenue it comes from moments, etc. So let's jump into where the real opportunities actually sit across the guest journey. Where revenue meets experience, right? And we talked about it. So Marjorie, for you, where in the guest journey is the biggest untapped revenue potential?
I think this is a really tough question because you could kind of go into the nitty-gritty for all of the
Well, remember we got
guest
35
journey.
minutes.
Exactly. Because I think that obviously with the pre-arrival, you've got a unlimited amount of personalization opportunities that you can have there, and as well upsell possibilities, thanks to tech partners that can give us great data there to be able to upsell to guests and to attract new guests as well. But what I think is the most genuine opportunity that can be missed an awful lot these days now when we're focusing so much more on tech is actually the in-stay experience. And with the help of tech to be able to support the front of house, you can actually have time to talk to your guests and hear what they want, get their feedback. Believe it or not, they're people, and so are we. And you can actually maybe discover something else about a guest if they're celebrating something, and say, oh, you know what, you should really do this. Or, oh, you should really try that wine. It's a really great vineyard that I was at. You have so much more storytelling there. I'm Irish, and I think that that's kind of part of our culture anyway, is that we end up going down a road of storytelling anyway. But it is the genuine hospitality, and it does make that personal difference when you stay at a property.
Plus engagement with the guest when they're on site, you actually find out if they're unhappy as well, right?
Exactly.
If you're there and then are able to resolve anything,
you can
improves your NPS or your guest reviews as well, I guess.
I would say that's even a bigger opportunity because then you can turn them around as well. And I fully agree with what you said, taking care of the moments. And I think that's really what comes down to true hospitality, of really seeing the guests, having time with them, and speak from your heart. Like, what would you like to hear as a guest? But also then we have, like the previous speaker this morning, who just wants to get into a hotel and then get out. You also have to recognize that and respect those wishes. So it's all about seeing the guest in front of you.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. No, I think that's where they can do a better job in hotel management schools, is teach GMs and people to actually be on the floor instead of being in the back office, seeing what the numbers are. If they're presented in real time on their mobile device, they can be anywhere in the hotel, right?
I agree.
So Ivy, where's the line between valuable upselling and true nickel and diming in the industry?
I think we need to understand our guests, customize experience, create trust, and also revenue. Personalization, like the occasion, birthday, anniversary, unite people, they come for celebration. Then you can upsell some package, decoration of the rooms. You can create something, a cake, champagne, or even you can invite them to have a restaurant to book in your reservation. Do you need some help to book in a restaurant for a celebration? This is something that we create, upsell, get more revenue. But at the end, the guests feel, oh, you really care about us. They think that, oh, someone think of us and plan for us. It is something that guest is looking for it.
Yeah, and that's where technology plays a role. I have an example of that. I had my wedding anniversary at a hotel in Barcelona a long time ago. And then I came back 5 years later on a business day, and I received the same bottle of champagne and the same card in the room because I thought I was still there for my wedding anniversary. Yeah. So the experience was great, but 5 years later, it was a little bit awkward. So, Alexandra, can guest satisfaction scores be tied directly to revenue?
Totally, and I think we all agree on that. If we see a happy guest, we'll have better direct bookings because we'll create that trust again. We will see higher spend on property because they want to spend time with us. I mean, now, again, I work with a new hotel, Stockholm Stadshotell, and we've received such wonderful reviews. And they hug our team when they leave and say, we've created new friends here, and we don't want to leave, and this is our new best hotel in Stockholm. So now we know that we already, from the first year, we have those guests that really we've touched them. They're leaving great reviews, which for us is really key because, again, we don't have a loyalty from before. We created it from scratch. So definitely, and whether you're new or if you've been on the market for a very long time, it will still be very relevant to increase revenue.
Nice. That's a good example. So Alex, how do you design experience that increase revenue without harming trust?
Well, it's going back to what I mentioned earlier, I think. I mean, also once again to the previous presentation, if you have a good brand and a good guest experience, you can push it further, right? So meaning you can also push price, they're less price sensitive. So as such, you can actually grow revenue by having, but the engine for that, to fuel that pricing, to keep it up or even raise it even further, the only way to do that is you need to start once again with the guest experience to the willingness to pay, and then you can actually increase revenue as such.
Perfect. Nice. So, yeah, we talked about strategy and loyalty. Now let's talk about reality, because in the end it all sounds great, but there's also needs for the technology to talk to each other, right? So how do you actually make this work in a hotel? Systems, data, training, how will I actually empower my staff to get this going, right? So here in the tech and the data and the execution is where it all comes together. And because this is obviously in your wheelhouse, Alex, start with you. What's the biggest blocker to meaningful use of guest data?
I remember when I joined the first conference in hospitality was 2016. It was in London, and exactly the same question popped up then. And still, it's the same challenge today. And the answer to that question then, it's the same now, is fragmentation of technologies. However, I think I've never been as excited as I am right now as a tech entrepreneur and so on, where we are right now, where MEWS alone is one thing, but you can go outside MEWS as well to see what's actually happening with the consolidation in the industry overall, that other tech vendors are buying others. And that's a good thing, because that is exactly what has holding us back from actually have been able to get access to all these fragmented data silos. So now more and more companies are consolidating data, vertical data sets, sort of, to be able to sort of make use of those. And you see this, all of you, with agentic AI coming across now. And I think next year is going to be, across the industry, an extremely interesting year, where we finally will start seeing what everyone has been talking about for a long time, and actually monetizing the fact by exploiting different technologies under the agentic layers of AI, where you can do, as Marcus Levin mentioned this morning, with having agents doing a sequence of executions across certain applications, and can, as such, do a sequence of what I say, like, yeah, you can execute things across, and and that gives you enormous power.
Yeah.
as an
Without the
hotelier.
need for somebody to press a button.
Yeah,
right?
rather than go in and pull in statistics, or if you need to retype something into two systems, a CRM and a PMS, and so, and then not only doing that, but also exploit it in terms of making use of it, right?
Yep.
With AI. So, and I mean, it's going to be mind-blowing what's going to happen in the next couple of years.
I'll be excited for that integration super AI
Yes.
agent
Yes.
that can just help.
coming your way.
all
It
the-
is
I think
coming,
we're
yeah,
all
yeah.
waiting.
But I've been in the industry for 35 years, and I've been excited several times, and still we are here.
We have
with
the
fragmented
stamina,
system.
Patrick.
It's
Have the
happening. Let's go. All right, Marjorie, a question for you. So, do we need a single guest profile in 2025?
I would say yes, but I do know that in reality we don't. Having worked in operations, I know that there is a huge problem with, thanks to fragmented data as well, that we have a lot of duplicate profiles there. And working on one single profile would in turn give you a full 360 view of your guest and of your target market in the end of the day. For example, when you went to a hotel for your wedding anniversary and then came back for a business trip. If they had you as two duplicate profiles as well, they would see you as two very different people. But in fact, you're the same person, but you're not coming for the same purpose.
Exactly.
So I think that there's no perfect system that will that will do everything for us. But we're getting there, hopefully, with agentic AI. I believe it when I see it. But I think that also it's all of these tech possibilities are very good and well as long as you can use it as well. Because we do have very fragmented data, and if you don't actually communicate that to the organization, then nobody's going to use it, and it's just a waste of money.
Yeah, we talked about it at the table, right? I mean, there's an implementation of one system, and then it doesn't do a certain thing, and then let's get a subscription to another system that kind of sort of bolts on, but not really. So that adds to the fragmentation, right? So, so Ivy, which technologies genuinely move the needle today?
I mean, the same that we discussed, that the real challenge is the fragmented data. We need a connected, integrated system and the clean data to make the personalization work. Because right now, if I analyze data, I cannot really see the whole picture. I need to get some data from here to P&M system, get some here from revenue management system. Then operation size the system also cannot maybe generate a welcome letter. They need to have another system. So from the operation, from the revenue management point of view, we cannot really have a system to do something the best. So we're looking forward to the system.
So am I.
No pressure.
No, but it is true, right? I mean, in the end, people talk about systems, but we need systems that really move the needle, right? And give us insights into that total spend and what is the guest life cycle and life value. So to that, Alexandra, how do you align operations, room management, front office, and marketing? Where does this alignment begin?
I mean, I think it all begins at the top. If they don't have a clear vision of what is the goal, what are we doing here? I mean, all of us in this room, we are here for hospitality, we're in the hotel business, but we all have different visions and different brands and strategies. So if it's firstly set at the top clearly and then communicated clearly to all different departments, not different messages to each department, then training and then giving tools to the staff to really empower them to work towards that vision. And I think you can't communicate that vision once. You have to keep on communicating it. You have to keep on making sure that the staff knows why is the operations team making a piece of the puzzle to succeed. Why is this specific person important for this overall vision? If they understand that and also feel valued, then you will combine all the different. And I also think it's really important. I mean, I've been a sales and revenue manager and director for many, many years. Since 2015, I took on sales, but kept my revenue role. And people said, well, are you crazy? It's like those two people don't go along with each other. They fight all the time. And I'm saying I'm doing that inside my head. But I think if you work really closely together and as a team, you will find the best solutions. So work closer together, people.
No, but those functions are becoming more and more important to blend.
And you see that function more and more in the marketplace as well, that people are actually commercial directors, they are doing revenue, they're doing sales, they're doing marketing, because it's important that those are aligned with each other.
And even, you know, where IT was traditionally IT systems, somebody, it's still, it's becoming
we
part
also
of
IT, yes.
sales and revenue as well, right? Because
Yes.
the guest journey and the booking engines and everything else fall under that.
All work together. Very
I
important.
think that's where it's very important as well, that it does come from within. You have to be very clear about your brand. We talked a lot about guest loyalty, guest experience is the focus of this forum. But what about actual staff loyalty? Because staffing is a huge problem at the moment as well, huge cost as well for hotels. And if your staff are on board and they're loyal to your brand, then they feel empowered to in turn make your guests loyal. And happy as well.
Well, and that's where the agentic AI comes in, right? If it's the repetitive tasks that can be removed from the daily work, which takes a lot of pressure away, they can start spending time with guests.
Believe it or not.
Believe it or not. Yeah. So we're coming into the final stretch, I think. I don't know, Charles, I haven't seen him yet, so let's keep our heads down. Just continue. So before we let you all go, we're going to switch things up a little bit. I've a couple of questions, no long answers, so I'll throw out a question. You give me the first thing that pops up in your head. Short, sharp, no essays, please. And don't worry, it's painless. No one's KPIs are depending on it. So I'm going to fire it off to Ivy. What's the most overrated metric?
I think point and status are overemphasized. But if this is a tool, I think it's important to have this tool to get the guests come to your hotel. But the experience that the guests stay at the hotel, how they feel it, how we can keep the guests coming to loyal to the hotel is important. I remember when I first came to the Nordic country in Sweden, then I traveled to Copenhagen. Then I checked in at about 1 o'clock. Then I went to the reception. Then they look at me. Check-in time is 3 o'clock. Then I said, can you check if the room is ready or not? Because I'm not arriving at 7 o'clock in the morning, right? Because I travel around in Asia and other Europe countries. Most of the time I can get a room before. But they told me. And then I asked him to check. Check-in time is 3 o'clock. Okay, maybe I think it is something cultural different. Is this in Sweden or in Copenhagen that check-in time is 3 o'clock, then check-in time is... I can only check in at 3 o'clock.
Opportunity missed there.
Then okay, then can I leave my luggage here? A luggage room is there. Okay, then I move my luggage myself to there. So it is something that if it is not ready to check in, it's okay, it's fine. Then you can tell me, the room is not ready yet. Maybe you can leave your luggage here, and we have restaurant here. You can have lunch there first, and then come back check in. It is something that the hotel can do more. The operation, the front desk team can do more, so that the guests can come in, can be loyal, can use the point. It's not just the point. They want the experience. And so far, I still remember that this experience is not so good. So I think this is something that we can, do better.
Well, I think overall, Western Europe can learn a lot from Asian hospitality when it comes to that. But it's how our industry has operated for a gazillion years, right? It's 3 o'clock is check-in, 11 o'clock is check-out, and anything in between is unthinkable. But if you're in the Middle East and your flight gets in at 6 o'clock in the morning, what are you going to do those hours that you don't have a room, right? So also evolve in the way we think as an industry. So Alex, if you were to rebuild loyalty from scratch, would you still use points?
Short answer, no. I would build it on relevance. So that would be the key.
Yeah, good. like short answers. Marjorie, what trends should hotels stop chasing?
I think after being at this forum as well, and also seeing both the operations side and the hotel developer side, is a lot of sexy tech, so to speak, the latest technology that isn't necessary and not fully developed, and where operations don't actually have a use for it.
And do system scans, right? Every once in a while, look at your tech stack and your landscape, and where are you actually paying maybe 3 vendors for pretty much the same thing. I agree. So Alexandra, for you, what's one overlooked moment that increases both revenue and guest emotional connection?
Well, I think pre-arrival, getting that opportunity to really already connect with the guests, selling your restaurants, spa, upsell, but obviously in a nice personal way. But pre-arrival, and we spoke about it already, the inn, when the hotel guest is already in the house. But pre-arrival, we have a lot to work on, I think. Those generic pre-arrival emails are not always very sexy, but there are many ways to do that in a personalized manner.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, guys. As loyalty meets revenue, hotels that win treat loyalty as a personalized relationship. So the data is the backbone, experience is the product, and revenue is the outcome. So thank you very much for my panelists, Alex, Ivy, Marjorie, Alexandra. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.